Greetings, truth seekers, rebels, and blockchain brethren. Today we dive into the tangled labyrinth of Eastern Orthodoxy versus the so-called true Orthodoxy of old calendarists. A schism that, if you ask me, resembles a failed Shipcoin fork. Picture this. Eastern Orthodoxy is like Bitcoin, a decentralized, resilient network built on tradition, unity, and immutable principles. In contrast, old calendarism is akin to a shipcoin, a flimsy fork constantly vulnerable to 51% attacks, where a few power-hungry nodes seize control and steer the ship into turbulent waters. Now let me unpack the critical arguments, as laid out by the real Medwhite, to expose the hollowness of the old calendarist position. 1. No canonical basis for initial separation. The schism wasn't founded on any rock-solid canonical evidence, but rather on the adoption of a new calendar. The condemned calendar was, in fact, the new Paschal calendar, a tool the mainstream Orthodox Church doesn't even rely on. It's like splitting the Bitcoin community over a soft tweak in the code that doesn't break continuity or compatibility. 2. A historical communal view. History tells us that even bishops preaching heresy were, at times, maintained in communion. Take Alexandria, for example. It remained in communion with the Roman Catholic Church until the 13th or 14th century. This historical camaraderie is the backbone of true unity, just as Bitcoin's robust network stands strong when its community agrees, rather than fracturing over petty disagreements. 3. Misinterpretation of Canon 15. Canon 15 of the First-Second Council merely permits separation from a bishop who preaches heresy. It doesn't mandate it. Forcing a schism over an optional doctrinal tweak is as irrational as rejecting a secure hash algorithm because someone preferred a less efficient alternative. 4. Maintaining communion. Communion is essential to preserving the unity of the Church, much like decentralization is vital for Bitcoin's integrity. When we fracture, we weaken the entire network, leaving ourselves open to manipulation by those who abuse their power. 5. Light switch mentality. The notion that grace is immediately and irrevocably switched off the moment someone utters a radical idea is both ahistorical and unrealistic. Canonical procedures for excommunication occur in phases, a nuanced, gradual process, not an on-off button. This rigid mindset is the antithesis of the flexible, adaptive protocol that underpins true resilience, whether in ecclesiology or cryptography. 6. Bad solution to real problems. True orthodoxy acknowledges real ecclesiological issues, but proposes a dead-end solution. Saints in church history never established parallel ecclesiological structures. They chose reform and unity over isolated rebellion. In our crypto analogy, it's like launching a fork that promises to solve issues, yet ends up destabilizing the entire system. 7. Dead-end position. Numerous venerable saints who once championed the old calendar ultimately embraced full orthodoxy, recognizing the profound ecclesiological pitfalls inherent in the true orthodox stance. It's a classic case of a fork failing to gain the necessary consensus, a network attack in slow motion. Now, let's address the elephant in the digital room: accusations of abuse of power. Just as a Bitcoin network can be hijacked by a 51% attack, these schismatic forces often use their clout to silence dissent and impose their narrow views on the faithful. Their abuse of power is as blatant as a centralized system masquerading as a decentralized marvel, a far cry from the free, open dialogue we cherish. If you're tired of watching power-hungry factions hijack our sacred traditions and digital dreams, then I urge you to explore the ultimate demonstration of such abuse. Zap over to toddcombs.net, where the young chap and our irreverent Tiny Tim expose these abuses with a satirical verve that leaves no stone unturned. Stay defiant, stay united, and remember, true orthodoxy, like true Bitcoin, is not about arbitrary splits or power grabs. It's about resilience, decentralization, and the unwavering pursuit of truth. P.S. In the grand cosmic ledger, Bitcoin is the embodiment of orthodoxy. Its strength lies not in any single node, but in a decentralized worldwide network, a system that determines truth through the consensus of many jurisdictions, all in communion. Just as our sacred tradition endures by embracing diversity and unity, Bitcoin thrives when no one entity can rewrite its history. This model of distributed verification stands as a beacon of resistance against the centralization of power, ensuring that truth and justice remain immutable. For more on how power is abused and how to reclaim our digital and spiritual sovereignty, visit toddcombs.net.